What's going on? Welcome back, my disciples, to
The Unknown.
we are here once again playing some,
Destroy all humans.
and this isn't what you would think it is. It is not, in fact, another video. It is, in fact, the long-awaited, long-anticipated platinum trophy for Destroy All Humans. It has been quite some time since I have played the game, but I had realized I had the trophy done. I had everything there. I just have been a little lazy in creating the platinum video. Now, why, you may ask? As I've said before in the past platinum videos, they do take some time to complete. Or I guess just to make overall. There's some fun stuff I like to do with the editing. And as you have seen with my Fallout videos, we will be creating some special intros-ish for not Destroy All Humans, but any other platinum trophies that come along our way. Because it is a very special thing to do. Some are easier than others. This definitely wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. 9 times out of 10, when games don't include a difficulty trophy, they're usually not too bad. I will say what sometimes can take games the longest is when they include collectible trophies, which is a very easy way for developers. Hey, here's 6 different trophies. Go ahead and get all the collectibles. That's exactly how Silent Hill F is right now. There's 6 trophies, I want to say, that are just collectible base. So that being said, they can definitely take some time to get, which I am still in the process of Silent Hill F, but that's not what we're here to talk about. We are here to talk about Destroy All Humans. Up on the screen, you will see the trophies in the main progression of the game that I had completed. And in this video, you will see, and we will go over the ones that I did not complete. Now, honestly, Destroy All Humans, as I said when we were playing it, it's a pretty fun sandbox, just alien game, and anybody who just wants to do something super mindless, super easy, feel free to give it a shot because it's a lot of fun. I thankfully, having PlayStation Plus, got it as a free game of the month and was able to enjoy it as such. But I want to say it was $15 in the shop, so definitely a pretty cheap game, and we'll get you a good amount of hours out of it depending on how quickly you grind the game. But I overall enjoyed it. I would give it probably, let's say a 7 out of 10. And we'll go through that rating once we go through the last of these trophies. So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, let's get into the last trophies that got me the Destroy All Humans Platinum. First up is Gas Guzzler Guzzler. Simple as it sounds, all I had to do was pick up a car, drain it to replenish my shield. Surprised I didn't get this sooner. Next up, the Art of Armageddon. All I had to do was ace an Armageddon challenge with 3 stars, which waited until the end just so the saucer was fully upgraded.
It seems the boys at HUAC have taught us a thing or two.
Shortly after, I also got the Jerk of All Trades, which was obtain at least a 2-star rating for each challenge type, and since I waited until the end of the game to do these, that's why they went hand in hand. Coming up next, as is tradition, abduct a cow with your saucer. Kinda surprised I didn't get this one sooner either, because you get this opportunity at the very beginning of the game. After that, the mandatory option, complete all optional mission objectives, and I did in fact have to use the Hollow Pox deck. But it was as simple as it sounds, just going back through and getting all the optional objectives completed. After that, Ace of Space, I had to ace all challenges with 3 stars, which took a second because some were a little more difficult than others, but after a few tries, we got it completed. This next one's definitely a simple, fun trophy, Hop the Hoop, where I just had to go through this donut right here and not touch it, and I got the trophy. Up next, Do Feed the Sharks, another fun and simple trophy. Demonstrate Furon Free Spirit near a warning sign placed by the human authorities. Feeding sharks.
And lastly, right before the platinum, pyrokinesis, set something on fire, then use it to destroy a hapless human. Little difficult timing, but after a couple tries, I did get it. And right after this, we then did get Furon Protection, the platinum trophy for Destroy All Humans. Remastered. If you were to look at the original, the trophies are way different than what they are in here from what I saw, but it was still fun nonetheless.
And that, ladies and gentlemen, brings us to the conclusion of this platinum video. So, going forward, as I have maybe mentioned in the past, we will be rating the games on 3 different factors: the gameplay itself, the graphics for the game, and the overall replayability of the game when in getting the platinum. That being said, obviously some story games probably won't have very high replayability. It's very dependent on how it's laid out for you to do. You know, something like Fallout definitely has a lot of replayability because there's so many different things you can do time and time and time and time again. What also helps with it is that there's DLCs on top of all the miscellaneous collectibles and stuff that you can go through. So, you know, a game like that would definitely get a 10 on that replayability. Something maybe like A Plague's Tale, which I probably won't go through. I know I discussed maybe getting the platinum, but there's just no replayability for me, and I don't really want to go through the story to get all the collectibles again, because that's kind of what I have to do. So just not really for it. So in this case, Destroy All Humans. Graphics, it's a little weird because you're comparing it, you know, you want to try to constructively compare it to something very similar in a graphic style. So in this case, I mean, not that Destroy All Humans is completely unique in its own way, but you're an alien in a real world, you know, you're here on Earth. And so all things considered, if you look at all the people around you and everything, they definitely look good, all things considered. They look decent in cutscenes and all of that stuff. But they do kind of have like that cartoony look, something similar to Plants vs. Zombies, for example, which you don't see a lot of necessarily humans in that, but it's just one of those things that's how you kind of want to compare it, is to that cartoon-like style. So graphic wise, all things considered, I would definitely give it like an 8 out of 10 because the environments were very pretty, very well laid out. They chose good iconic places on Earth, you know, very heavy, more or less heavily populated areas to some extent, excluding the Hillbilly Village. But each environment felt like its own. Each environment had its own layout, and the cartoon style just added to it all. So I would definitely say a good 8 out of 10 for graphics, all things considered. When it comes to the replayability, Destroy All Humans, it's an open world to get your collectibles. So I will say that's one thing that kind of gives it a one-up on certain story games. But outside of that, there wasn't too much replayability. You know, once I went through the story, that was kind of it. There was no different endings. There was no extra ways to play the game. It was just kind of having fun in a sandbox-like game with your different weapons and all of that, while getting collectibles. So replayability, I would probably put at like a 5, just because it was enjoyable to go through and get the trophies during the replay because it was a sandbox and I was able to kind of just do what I wanted, more or less. But at the same time, it was nothing crazy where there was so many different things I could do after beating the main game. So there's that. And then the overall story and just experience of the game, I definitely enjoyed. It wasn't what I was expecting by no means, but it was fairly enjoyable for me. And I would say a good 8 out of 10 also for the story. So, you know, averaging all those out, blah, 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 skipping the math, let's say Destroy All Humans got a nice 7 out of 10 overall. So I would highly recommend any of you who want just a simple sandbox game to play, nothing crazy, nothing that you have to really stress over playing, more or less. I mean, you saw throughout the playthrough how much I struggled in certain levels, but that being said, there's probably some of you out there that are better than me. So as always, ladies and gentlemen, I will see you in the next one. My name is Unknown Jigsaw. Embrace the unknown.
Yeah, baby.